4 things you should never speak with others. Lao Tzu once said, "He who knows does not speak, and he who speaks does not know." These words carry a timeless wisdom that challenges us to rethink the way we share our thoughts and experiences with others. In a world where everyone is eager to express, to overshare, and to seek validation, silence can sometimes be the deepest form of strength. Today, on Dharma Pulse, we will explore 4 things you should never speak with others. Truths that, when guarded with mindfulness, can protect your inner peace and nurture your growth. As you listen, I invite you to reflect. Do you recognize moments in your life when silence would have been more powerful than words? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your perspective may inspire someone else's journey toward wisdom and happiness. 1. Lying. Lying wears many disguises, but at its core, it is always a fracture in the soul. Buddhism teaches that mindfulness is not merely the practice of observing our breath or calming our thoughts. It is the discipline of living in harmony with truth. Every time a lie is spoken, whether we call it white, gray, or black, we pull ourselves out of alignment with the natural order of reality. White lies, often excused as harmless, plant seeds of distortion. Gray lies blur the line between truth and falsehood, creating confusion in the mind. Black lies, intended to manipulate, sever the very trust that binds human hearts together. Regardless of shade, each form of lying lowers the vibration of our being, anchoring us in fear, insecurity, and disconnection. To live truthfully is to walk in a higher frequency, where our words and our essence are one. Honesty is not just a moral code. It is an energy that radiates through every interaction. When speech is transparent, others feel a resonance of safety, even if they cannot explain why. In psychology, lying creates cognitive dissonance, a painful rift between inner knowing and outer expression. Spiritually, dishonesty dims the light of the soul, wrapping it in layers of shadow until it can no longer shine. The act of lying is not simply a deception of others. It is a betrayal of the self, a weakening of integrity, the invisible pillar that holds the self upright. Without integrity, the bridge between inner world and outer world collapses, leaving only fragmentation and emptiness. Each word we speak carries a vibration that ripples into the field of consciousness. Words that spring from truth harmonize with the Dharma and strengthen the bonds of trust, while words born from lies create discord and erode connection. Buddhism reminds us of right speech as a path of liberation, for to speak in truth is to live in the current of reality itself. When words are false, they poison the bloodstream of awareness, like toxins that spread silently but surely, eventually consuming peace and clarity. Transparency, on the other hand, is the natural fragrance of truth, as effortless and pure as the lotus blooming unstained above the muddy water. Living with mindfulness in speech does not demand perfection, but sincerity. It asks us to pause before speaking, to feel whether our words rise from reality or distortion, from courage or fear. In this way, honesty becomes not a burden, but a liberation, a higher frequency where authenticity replaces performance and trust replaces suspicion. To speak truthfully is to honor the sacred fabric of human connection, to allow our presence to shine without shadow, and to cultivate a mind uncorrupted by illusion. Lies may seem to offer temporary protection, but they always come at the cost of clarity, freedom, and inner peace. Truth, though sometimes difficult, is the path that aligns us with harmony, transparency, and the awakening of the self. Have you ever caught yourself telling even the smallest lie? If so, share your experience in the comments below so others can learn from it. If not, please comment, "I choose truth," so we can walk this path of honesty together. 2. Divisive speech. Divisive speech is one of the most subtle yet destructive forces in human relationships, and it often disguises itself as something harmless. Gossip, whispers behind someone's back, or casual judgments may seem like ordinary conversation, but in truth, they act like invisible knives that cut into the fabric of trust. Words born from jealousy or anger never vanish once spoken. They linger, echo, and plant seeds of discord. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that our speech is not just sound, it is energy, carrying the power to heal or to harm, to unite or to divide. Every time we use language to highlight someone's flaws in their absence, we not only harm them, but also poison our own hearts. The Buddha reminded us that right speech is more than simply avoiding lies. It is the conscious choice to use words as bridges of connection. Think for a moment about the power of meditation. It teaches us to pause, to breathe, to observe the impulse before reacting. That same pause can save us from speaking words we cannot take back. Most gossip does not come from truth, but from unhealed wounds within ourselves. When we envy someone's success, when we feel overlooked, or when insecurity gnaws at us, gossip becomes the outlet. For a brief moment, it may soothe our pride, but afterward, it leaves behind the heavy residue of guilt and division. To indulge in gossip is to pour fuel on the fire of our own suffering. In today's world, this danger has multiplied through social media. A careless comment or a half-truth can spread across networks in seconds, destroying reputations and tearing communities apart. What once took days of whispered conversations in a village now happens instantly on a global scale. But pause and ask yourself, when you share a rumor, are you building anything of value? Or are you helping to construct walls of mistrust? Would your words bring clarity if spoken in the presence of the person you are discussing? Or would they wound like arrows? In that reflection lies the essence of mindful communication. There is a timeless story of a man who slandered another and later sought forgiveness from a monk. The monk handed him a pillow stuffed with feathers and told him to scatter them in the wind. When the man returned, the monk said, "Now, gather every feather." The man could not. The monk replied, "This is what happens with your words once they are released. They can never be taken back." Though ancient, this teaching feels even more relevant today, in a world where one careless remark online can leave scars that last a lifetime. The lesson here is clear. Every word we speak is an act of creation. Meditation gives us mastery over the mind, but restraint in speech gives us mastery in the world. Before words leave your lips, ask yourself, will this unite or divide? Will it sow compassion or conflict? Gossip often reflects not the truth about others, but the shadows we have not yet faced within ourselves. Instead of projecting pain outward, we can choose to heal it inwardly. Silence, when born of wisdom, is not weakness, it is a profound strength. To hold back divisive words in a society addicted to noise is a radical act of courage. When we follow this teaching, we begin to experience freedom, the freedom of no longer being chained by resentment, envy, or anger. Our words then become instruments of trust, kindness, and harmony. This is not about following a rigid rule, but about choosing liberation for ourselves and those around us. To speak is to plant seeds. To remain silent in wisdom is to protect the garden. Each time you feel the temptation to gossip or criticize, remember that your words will not only shape how others see the world, but also echo endlessly within your own soul. By choosing speech that unites rather than divides, you honor both yourself and those who walk beside you on the path. Comment below, "I choose harmony," and let us walk together on the path of unity, leaving behind words that divide and embracing speech that heals. 3. Harsh speech. Harsh speech is like a blade that cuts not only the person it is aimed at, but also the one who wields it, leaving behind wounds that may never fully heal. Words born from anger carry a vibration that sinks deeply into the spirit, draining energy and leaving behind scars that no apology can completely erase. In Buddhism, speech is never just sound. It is action, carrying a force that can either uplift or destroy. When you choose to criticize, insult, or belittle someone, you are planting seeds of resentment and pain that spread like poison through their heart. And this same poison slowly corrodes your own peace of mind. The Buddha's teaching that better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace reminds us that every word we speak carries weight, shaping not only the emotional reality of others, but also the spiritual atmosphere in which we live. Language is like energy in motion. Harsh words create storms that darken the sky of understanding, while kind words shine like rays of light breaking through the clouds. Think of your words as ripples moving across still water. A harsh tone disturbs the calm, stirring chaos that expands far beyond the first point of impact, while gentle speech creates circles of harmony that reach endlessly outward, touching lives you may not even realize. Harsh speech is more than just sound. It is an invisible prison, trapping both the speaker and the listener in cycles of anger, misunderstanding, and separation. But when you choose to speak with compassion, your tongue becomes a bridge carrying healing energy across the waters of division, restoring peace and lifting the spirit of those around you. Many of us remember with painful clarity the sting of words spoken in cruelty long after we have forgotten the details of the moment. Like feathers released into the wind, once spoken, words cannot be gathered back. They continue to drift, leaving traces that shape memory, self-worth, and relationships. In modern life, this truth is clear. A single harsh sentence spoken online can ignite conflict that spreads like wildfire, draining collective energy and destroying trust. Within families or friendships, one angry outburst can tear apart bonds that took years to build. Harsh words may give temporary satisfaction to the ego, but their after effects are heavy, pulling everyone into suffering. Choosing kindness in speech is not a sign of weakness, but of mastery. It requires inner strength to pause, to hold back the storm of anger rising inside, and instead release words that soothe, encourage, and heal. This choice transforms language into a sacred tool of spirituality, for every conversation is like a small temple. What you place upon its altar matters. Fire will burn, water will calm. So the next time anger rises like a wave, remember that your words are carriers of energy, capable of healing or harming. And in that moment of choice lies the power to either deepen the wounds of humanity or to open a path of peace, compassion, and true healing. 4. Idle chatter. Idle chatter is like smoke drifting through the air. It moves without direction, filling space but leaving nothing of substance behind. In Buddhism, words are seen not as casual sounds, but as living vibrations, energies that can either elevate or diminish the spirit. To speak without mindfulness is to scatter our inner power into emptiness, weakening the flame of awareness that sustains clarity. When speech becomes excessive and meaningless, when conversations spiral into gossip or trivial repetition, we are no longer communicating truth, but feeding the restless hunger of the ego. And slowly, we lose the capacity to sit with silence on the very ground where truth is born. Still, there is space for gentle conversation. A word of kindness, a shared laugh, or a story that carries warmth can uplift and nurture connection. The problem arises when talk crosses the boundary of nourishment and slips into waste. Buddhism reminds us that speech should carry weight, just as water must flow into fertile soil to bear fruit. Words poured endlessly into the sand vanish without trace, taking energy with them. This is why mindfulness must guard the tongue. Before speaking, we pause and ask, does this word serve clarity, compassion, or joy? If the answer is no, silence may be the higher act of wisdom. Idle chatter reveals a deeper fear within the human mind, the fear of silence. Many speak endlessly because silence feels unbearable, as if it exposes the void within. Yet in that very void lies awakening. Silence is not emptiness, but the field of presence, the place where the self rediscovers its essence. To step into silence is to confront the fear of nothingness and find that it is not hollow, but luminous. As Carl Jung once observed, symbols and silence reach deeper than speech, carrying truths older than words. In the same way, the mindful stillness of a soul communicates more profoundly than hours of idle conversation. From the perspective of energy, every word is a vibration. Words of integrity and intention lift the frequency of both speaker and listener, creating harmony. Idle chatter, however, drains vitality, scattering the current of life force. This is why, after hours of empty conversation, one feels depleted rather than renewed. Words are not free. They are a currency of energy. To waste them without awareness is to leave the doors of the inner temple open, letting the warmth of spirit leak into the cold night. Right speech, one of the pillars of the Noble Eightfold Path, stands as a constant reminder that liberation is woven not only through meditation, but also through the discipline of our tongues. To speak with mindfulness is to align speech with truth, to transform words into vehicles of light, to ensure that what leaves our lips is worthy of being heard. Idle chatter, in contrast, locks us into the unconscious rhythm of habit, keeping us from the clarity that comes when every word is born of awareness. The essential question then arises, how often do you speak to fill emptiness rather than to transmit truth? How often are your words shaped by intention rather than habit? By practicing mindfulness in speech, we transform language into a tool of awakening. Silence is no longer uncomfortable, but becomes a sanctuary. When words arise from this higher frequency, they no longer waste energy. They channel it. As the Zen teaching reminds us, silence is sometimes the best answer. In honoring silence and choosing words with precision, we transform our voice into a clear stream of Dharma, one that nourishes both our own journey and the lives of those who listen. If you are ready to free your mind from idle chatter and live with mindful speech, Repeat after me. I choose silence over noise and wisdom over empty words. As we come to the close of this reflection on the 4 things you should never speak with others, let us remember that silence is not emptiness. It is a form of wisdom. In choosing restraint, we protect our peace, preserve our energy, and cultivate clarity in our relationships and inner life. When we learn to hold back words that bring harm or confusion, we open space for compassion, mindfulness, and truth to flourish. Now, I invite you to reflect. Which of these 4 principles resonates most deeply with you, and how will you apply it in your daily life? Share your thoughts in the comments below so that we can grow together as a mindful community. And if you found value in this teaching, please like this video, subscribe to Dharma Pulse, and join us on the journey of living with wisdom and harmony.